Well, hello. Welcome to the Arizona Real Estate Podcast with Sit Squatch. I'm not using my webcam today. I'm trying something new because I feel like it's a more clear picture. But I'm not sure that's a good idea. You tell me. These millions of people, you millions of people that watch me, you tell me. So today we're talking about this topic right here. Stop waiting for that 3%. Oh, I put a dollar sign there. Whoops. The unicorn has left the building. Okay, that's not to discourage you. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit, okay? So let's get into it. Okay. We're just going to dive into this because this is a topic that is on everybody's mind. Should I wait to buy a house until the mortgage rates go back down to 3%? Okay, so I'm going to give you a spoiler alert, okay? If that's your game plan, you might want to pack a snack because you'll be waiting a long time and you might miss out on the house that you actually want. And I'll get more into this later, but this is just a little short intro to it, okay? So let's get into why those low rates probably aren't coming back and what smart buyers are doing instead. Okay, first things first, okay? 3% was never normal. No, don't let that upset you, okay? My lender and I were talking, the one I use most of the time, and we were talking about this, and a lot of the reasons that 6% seems so high is because we're coming from 2 and 3%. But I'm going to tell you why we had 2 and 3% mortgage rates, okay? So let's just get the record straight. They were not normal. They were emergency level rates created by the Federal Reserve to help stabilize the economy during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the Fed dropped interest rates to near zero. They pumped money into the mortgage system to keep the housing market from collapsing. They wanted to keep people in their homes, and that's a good thing. And it did work, okay? But it was like using duct tape to hold up a collapsing tent. It was a temporary fix, not a forever solution. Sorry, I heard something outside. Historically, mortgage rates have hovered around 7 or 8% over the last 50 years. So when people say they're waiting for rates to drop, it's like, what? Because anything under 5 was basically a unicorn, and it's probably not going to come back soon. Here's a mortgage unicorn. It's a cartoon, but it looks pretty swell, doesn't it? Lock in a fixed rate to have that price for the entirety of your loan, because locking in a fixed rate provides stability, ensures your interest rate, and monthly payments remain consistent. Okay, so I made this. How fancy, I know. But do you want your interest rate to look like that, up and down, up and down, up and down? Or your mortgage payment? Or do you want it to be straight across the board? I mean, makes sense to me, right? Hope it makes sense to you. So let's talk about why. This is why it's not coming back, okay? That price is not going to come back. If it does, I'll eat my words, okay? I will dare Sid Squatch to do something. So the two reasons: inflation control. Okay, so right now the Federal Reserve is focusing on slowing down inflation. When inflation is high, interest rates stay high. So that's how the Fed cools things off. Okay, if it's like financial air conditioning. So right now they're not trying to heat up the housing market again. They're trying to keep things from overheating. So unless something catastrophic happens, like recession level crisis, we're not likely to see 3% rates again. And honestly, if they did come back, it probably means that something's gone very wrong in the economy, and that is not ideal. And also, I've talked about this before. When interest rates drop, you are now, if you're a buyer, I mean, it's great for sellers, right? But you're up against other buyers, and you're going to have to come in with your offer with a lot more money, because other people are going to be offering more money too to get that listing. I mean, that house. This is a coffee cup from my friend Pam. Guess where she lives? It's one of my favorite cups. So yeah. And I'll get into this more, why even buying back then maybe not have been better. But if you do have that loan, if you have that interest rate, don't refinance right now. Okay. So here is what buyers get wrong. Are you ready for this? Here's what buyers get wrong. Many buyers are so focused on the interest rate, but not the monthly payment. We kind of talked about that already. So you don't live in a rate, you live in a house. You make a payment, and that payment depends on a lot of factors: price, down payment, taxes, insurance, your credit score, and also the rate. But waiting for a perfect number on paper while prices continue to climb, that could cost you way more than a higher rate will. Okay? So just start thinking about this. So here are some smart buyer strategies. Okay? What are smart buyers doing right now? They're adjusting their strategy and not giving up on the dream. So this is like anything, right? We have to adjust. When things happen, we have to adjust. And that's what we're doing. Right now, you're typically going to get seller concessions. In this market, you might be able to negotiate seller paid rate buy down, so you can buy down the interest rate of your loan. That lowers your interest rate without refinancing. So you're doing it on the front end. This seller concessions are also closing costs, which you could even use for a home warranty, homeowners insurance, escrow fees, things like that. Okay. And you can also do temporary buy downs. So think of this as easing into the payment. So when you're buying a house, now you have to make sure you're talking with your lender and people and making sure that this makes sense to you. But here are some different of the types. And I just did a screenshot on the Googs. So you can do a 1 year. So the rate is reduced by 1 for the first year, and then 2 by the second year. You can do a 2-1, which means 2% the first year, 1 in the second, and 3-1, same thing. 3% the first year, 2% the second, and 1% in the third. Within that time, I do believe I'm right, and I've talked to my lender, you can refinance in that. So that when you are purchasing, there are these types of strategies that you can use. Just make sure that you go over everything really well with your lender, okay? So you can do an ARM, which is an adjustable rate mortgage. That could be good if you don't plan to stay in your home 30 years or whatever. It could be pretty tricky, though. I'm not going to get into that now, but it's like you could have a really, really low payment now, but then at the end of the term, whatever you agree to, the price shoots way up. I know people that their price doubled. I actually interviewed a lady about that, and then she ended up losing her house. So another thing you can do is plan to refinance when rates dip again, even if it's not 3%, okay? So smart buyers are focusing on what they can control: their credit, down payment, their budget, not trying to time the market like it's a stock exchange. Okay? Oh my gosh, my allergies. Okay, so final thoughts. Are you ready? Okay. Sorry. I get it. It's daunting. It's stressful, anxiety ridden. Rates feel really high right now, but waiting on the sidelines, waiting for a unicorn means that you could miss the house, not just the interest rate. Because remember, you can date the rate, but you date the rate, but you marry the house. Okay. So if you find a house that you fall in love with today, it could be out of your price range tomorrow, even if rates go down. So don't forget that. Okay. So you don't end up like this, waiting for the interest rates on mortgages to go down. I don't want that to happen to any buyer, including me. I remember I bought my house and it was 6-something%. It's still there right now, but it's okay. Just make sure you buy a house that's within your budget. Okay. And then when and if they do go down, then you can refinance. So if this helped you shift your mindset, or you have questions, shoot me a message, like I said, and I can help run numbers with you too. And I've got really great people that I can talk to. So until next time, buy smart, stay confident, and don't let outdated advice cost you your dream home. Okay. You know what Sid Squatch always says? Well, I'm going to tell you, like and subscribe. It'll make Sid Squatch happy. Woot. And he says, the journey begins with you. So be good to yourself. Tell me how the camera clarity was today. Was it more clear? It's interesting because I do have a webcam, but I feel like this was better. And remember that I love you, okay? And you have a wonderful weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. And I'll see you next time.